What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday night here. Welcome to Around the NBA, presented by the Ultimate Sports Show. Your host, Aaron. I am joined by Manny. As always, Manny, how's it going, man?
What's good? I'm so
What
happy after that Lakers win, and let's get it around the NBA.
I was gonna say, what's good is the last game. Obviously, Lakers won that game, pretty evenly, 115-94. They played terrific. I mean, they really after us talking earlier for the pregame show for them, obviously after talking about how they were playing and how inconsistent they've been on the 3-point side of things. It just was really good to see an improvement tonight. And shout out to Kuz, man. Kuzma
hmm
Kuzma played great. I give him a lot of credit. 30 points for the night, 4 for 7 from 3. I will take that any day. And got to give my guy Marcus All a little bit of love there because I wanted him to get 5 more points. But hey, you know what? You make a difference. And I think now that he, essentially knows that his starting job is essentially not going to be there and only there right now because of what the situation was, I think he has a reason to say, okay, I need to step up my game a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. But honestly, shout out to Kuz. He really showed up. Like, he had 30 points, shot 4 for 7 from three, 11 for 18 from the field, had 5 rebounds. Honestly, we were really like blasting the Lakers on the pregame for like not making threes, taking too many threes. But hey, if you're making them, keep firing from the 3 point line. And Markieff Morris even he was looking like Bubble Keith, as I said on Twitter. And
Yeah,
with his 2 for 6 from the 3 point line, 6 for 13 from the field, 14 points, 8 rebounds. Marcus All, as you mentioned, 9 rebounds. This is the type of game that I want Marcus All playing. He is now playing like an actual big man. He's getting his boards and he's being physical. Dennis Schroeder as well, 3 for 4 from three, 7 for 13 from the field. He had 17 points and 8 assists. And shout out to KCP as well. Not only did he have 4 for 7 from three and 13 points, but this man played like a power forward tonight. He had 10 boards. As a shooting guard, he had 10 boards, which is absolutely absurd in my opinion. And shout out obviously to Montrezl Harrell, my boy. I know he didn't shoot well from the field, but he had 10 boards. Like I predicted it in the pregame, he was going to feast in the paint and get his boards and play terrific defense, and he really did. He really played very, very well. We shot 51% from the 3 point line, and at one point of the game, we shot 61% from three. Aaron, that's absurd. And we actually called them out from three, and I think it worked. I think the Lakers might have used that as a pep talk, and it worked for them.
exactly. I mean, look, overall, end of the game there for them. They shot, they shot 60% for three free throws in general, and they were about 51% from three. Um, so obviously it was great to see them turn this around. Um, I was happy. Obviously, you got Vince in the comments here. Um, Vince, man, your boy shined tonight.
He really
I was
did.
happy. Um, couldn't ask for more. It's just good to see him out there. Good to see him bounce back. Medina was talking about it. She couldn't make it for the post game tonight. Um, but she was saying like it'd be great to see Kuzma have a bounce back game. She was just saying like whenever he plays bad, he ends up turning it around, which is great. You couldn't ask for more. So I was very happy to see that. Um, but all in all, I mean, the only thing that really concerns me about tonight is the turnovers. Turnovers still, the Lakers got to clean up the turnovers. And I just think it's pieces that are not used to maybe combinations of the lineup. Maybe it's just sloppiness carrying the ball. But definitely, I honestly even thought, Vince, I thought maybe he was going to go for 40 as well. So, you never know. I mean, when he's hot, he's hot. And when he's cold, he goes way cold. So I think he just knows that he needs to step up. The Lakers need him. The Lakers need scoring. They need some presence in there. And I think he can maybe got an earful too, is saying like, look, man, like you got your two other superstars in there, not there. And you got to take action here.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Frank Vogel must have gave him an earful, saying like, look, you're supposed to be the third guy on this team, but you've been very inconsistent. But now, I think as he might have given that earful, Kuzma really shined. I agree with you, Aaron. I think he was capable of definitely of getting 40, but I guess because of our risks with injuries, Kuzma didn't want to like press that hard because in case if like there's another thing that would have been risked because we all know what happened tonight also with Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews went down as well, so now we're down to 5 guys injured. And look at and this is how deep our team is, Aaron. Like with 5 guys out, we showed out against a Sacramento Kings team that was only missing Marvin Bagley. Besides Marvin Bagley, every single player played for Sacramento, and we shut down De'Aaron Fox. Remember when I said in the pregame that like we need to defend the three and we need to shut down De'Aaron Fox?
Oh,
Well, we
yeah.
did exactly that. De'Aaron Fox shot 0 for 4 from three. Didn't even make 1 3, and he only had 12 points. And he shot a horrendous 5 for 20 from the field. So I gotta say, shout out to the Lakers defense. There's a reason why we have the best defense in the league, and it shows us without LeBron and without AD. Without AD was our best perimeter defender by far on the team. It
Absolutely.
shows that like we're able to play aggressive defense, and it doesn't matter who's playing or it doesn't matter who's out. We still have the best defense in basketball, and I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, yeah. All in all, it was a good game. Lakers played solid. Let's get into the other games. We got the
Absolutely.
war. We got It was a little bit. There was some games. Honestly, I mean, it's part of the league. It's part of the NBA. It happens. Unfortunately. But there is some games that get one sided. The Raptors pretty much took care of the Warriors. That game was 130-77. Warriors just, from the looks of it, I kind of saw a little bit of the game as well. Warriors just kind of looked like they were just checked out, like they couldn't get their shots to fall in the second quarter. Basically, after the first quarter, they couldn't. It felt like they were just brick city when it comes to their shots that they took. They just kind of looked deflated, and I mean, they only shot 32% for the entire game, and they went 11 for 34 from three. So their just shots weren't falling. And you know what? Some of these games, when you get blown out as a team, obviously we know what happens. You try and bounce back. You try and turn around your next game. Obviously, we know the Warriors are not at full strength yet. They're still missing, obviously, the key pieces that they are missing. With Wiggins trying to hold it down as much as he could, it just takes a toll on your team. You're missing the veteran presence. Obviously what they know with the Lakers as well. I mean, they're in the same similar situation,
Mm-hmm.
but obviously it takes a toll on this kind of a team. And Toronto just made them pay tonight. They just simply got outplayed.
Oh, absolutely. We all know what type of talent Pascal Siakam is. He's literally their superstar, and we all saw how he played the past like few years for Toronto, and he showed it up tonight. He had 36 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds, and this is a power forward, by the way, and he shot 4 for 9 from the 3 point line. I know it's a lot of shots for a power forward, but look, if you're making them, keep shooting,
Yeah.
and that's how it goes. And Also, they have a huge anchor on defense, the Raptors, and he's even made a lot of shots as well. OG Anunoby, 21 points, shot 2 for 4 from three, 8 for 12 from the field, and also on the trade deadline, I was telling a lot of my Raptor friends that they killed it with that trade for Gary Trent Jr. I was like, this guy torched my Lakers the last time Portland played us, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
trust me, Raptor fans, you guys got a good one. He got 24 points, shout to Kobe, 5 rebounds, 6 for 9 from the 3 point line, 8 for 14 from the field, and he's a younger Norman Powell. That's why they made that trade
Oh yeah.
because it's the point of getting younger. We all know Kyle Lowry. He might not resign. If he does, great. But if he doesn't, Raptor fans, you guys should be very proud of everything he did for your city, he did for your team, and he did for the whole country of Canada. He brought this country a championship, and he brought you guys a championship. So if any Raptor fan is ungrateful for Kyle Lowry, you guys are fake as hell. Like, this guy did so much for you, honestly, in my opinion.
Oh, he was. I mean, he was the face of Toronto. I mean, if the face of this team for a long time. I mean, this is the only team he's known. Um, Obviously there's a few other faces there. I mean, they have they have Pascal, they have Gary Trent, Van
Yeah.
Fleet. Those are all guys that just they all. It's like a bond. It's like the Curry, Thompson, and Draymond. They all have
Absolutely.
that connection together. When you're used to playing together, you have that chemistry on and off the court. And I think that's I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to any games at all. When you say, hey, you know, this guy and this guy have a great chemistry. Okay, yeah, this person in the mix, they start getting to know each other. They just get on a great terms and they develop a great bond with each other. And I
Hmm.
feel like that's the same thing when it comes to Kyle Lowry. I mean, nobody knows. I mean, let's be honest here, NBA. All the fans that are watching.
Yeah.
Um, we don't. Nobody knows where he's going to end up. He could end up staying on the East. He can maybe end up signing back with Toronto. Just depends on what they want to do. So it should be pretty. It should be pretty interesting. But obviously, we'll wait and see. Obviously, this coming season, end of the season, is going to be a huge, huge, huge deal of some players and some big contracts. So we'll see what happens because it's pretty wide open. Um, Rockets Celtics. Um, that game was on national TV today. Um, Celtics look solid tonight. 118 to 102. Um, that I was expecting it to be even. I was expecting it possibly to be a little bit closer because
Hmm.
obviously we know Boston struggles this year, Manny. Like they're not as great as they were last year. They had a great team last year. They looked solid last year, but all their injuries and just the way that things have been handling out with that team as well. And I think it's shocked a lot of Boston fans this year.
I think Boston is by far the biggest disappointment in the NBA this season, and it's not even close. Their guys aren't. It's not like they're badly injured. Jason Tatum plays, Kemba Walker plays, Marcus Smart plays, Jalen Brown plays, but for some reason they've been playing horrendous all year. But I mean, it's a good booster for them that they won tonight, but you did it against a subpar Rockets team. But Jason Tatum played good. He shot way too many threes. That's the problem with his game this year. He's been shooting a lot of threes because I have League Pass, so I watch a lot of these games if I can. So and Kemba Walker, don't even get me started on him. He's been a big disappointment ever since he arrived in Boston. He should have stayed in Charlotte. He was a beast on Charlotte. Marcus Smart, yeah, he had 10 assists. He's very good defensively, but offensively, I've never been crazy about his game offensively. Jalen Brown though, he's been a big surprise this year. he's actually doubled in his stats from the years past, and that's why he
Mm.
got named as an All Star. And also, but one thing I got to give credit for Boston is the pickup of Evan Fournier at the deadline. I said that was a very good trade for them,
Oh yeah.
and he shot 7 for 11 from three. That's crazy, and he had 23 points off the bench. I was hoping the Lakers would get him because like I was hoping for JJ Redick, but if we didn't get JJ Redick, I was like Evan Fournier would be nice, but the Rockets, there's not really much to talk about them. They're like in full fire seal. We saw the deadline; they pretty much got rid of everybody. Now they're in full rebuild mode. They're pretty much going for either like Cade Cunningham or Evan Mobley, the big fish of at the draft. But Christian Wood is basically their one known guy right now. Like he's
Yeah.
basically their guy they're trying to build around. But there's not really much talking about the Rockets. They're basically in full fire sale mode right now.
Yeah. Do you expect Avery Bradley to be mentioned more in the next, probably maybe this week, coming week? Do you expect them to be involved in more names coming up right now, or do you think Houston's going to hold on to him for another week, a few more weeks?
That's a very good question. I feel like he should get bought out. Bought out. I don't know if he will get bought out, but he should because he does not fit that
Yeah.
team's timeline. They're in full rebuild mode, like I said. They don't have I don't think Avery Bradley at this point of his career, at like 30 years old, wants to be part of a real building team. I think he wants to go to a contender.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers should sign him. He's 3-and-D. He can shoot. He was actually very good for us last year when the second to last game before the shutdown last year when we played the Clippers. He had 23
Yeah.
points. He would be huge for our team, especially that our. I mean, tonight we shot great from three, but how many nights are we gonna have like that? Like this was a fluke basically. Like the rest of the games this year were bad from the 3 point line. So he
Yeah.
would be a very good addition for us, but I don't know if the Rockets will buy him out. It's a question we have to ask them, I guess.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I expect Bradley to get bought out. I expect his contract to get bought out. Um, hopefully, I mean, ideally, Lakers have one more roster spot. In general, Avery Bradley. I mean, whoever gets him, you're getting a great perimeter defensive player. I mean, literally, I mean, he just plays swarming defense, especially when he's healthy and his body is right. And he gives you points. So in this case, he gave Houston 15 points tonight. Not so great from three, but all in all, in 28 minutes, he doesn't play like complete starter minutes. He doesn't play like over 30
Yeah.
minutes really. But I meant when he's out there, he gives you a presence. I think wherever he ends up going is going to be great. Let's get into Mavericks and the Knicks. Knicks. I mean, we got to talk about the Knicks for a second because in general they've been playing some good ball. I mean,
Yes.
really, like they've been actually playing great. So most people have been saying, well, the Knicks are Knicks are
The
the
Knicks.
Knicks. Why they were just going through a miraculous turnaround. No, they have good pieces there, and they have Randall Bullock, New Orleans Noel, Peyton, and Barrett. That's their team basically, and those guys are good. They have a decent bench too. Obviously they got D Rose, which is great. I think he's a great fit in New York. I think it's great to see him and Thibodeau together again. Um, and they fight. They're not a team that just gives up so easily.
Oh, absolutely. Shout out to Knicks fans. Like you
Oh
guys,
yeah,
honestly, if you're a Knicks fan, you are loyal to the core. You have gone through so much hardship for many, many years as a fan. If you're a Knicks fan, but I mean, tonight they didn't really play good. Like speaking of
yeah,
D Rose, he shot 1 for 10 from the field, but it's the fact that he brings that like that culture to New York. He's like a marquee guy, even though he's not exactly that known guy he was on Chicago anymore. But
yeah,
and that's what New York needs. They need a guy. They need like a culture change because New York is kind of like LA in that way that they need like a cultural presence to just lift that team up. But But speaking of the Knicks, like Julius Randle, former Laker young core, shout out to him. He's been amazing this year. He's been on the tear. He made the All Star game, and tonight he had 14 points and 11 assists. A power forward playing like a point guard, and he had 8 rebounds. He actually flirted with a triple double. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
And another former Laker that they have, Reggie Bullock, 13 points, shot 4 for 9 from three. We all know he was a good shooter when he played half the year with us. They have guys like Alfred Payton. You mentioned R.J. Barrett. That's their number 3 overall pick 2 years ago. But another guy that they got in the offseason who was huge for them all year, Alec Burks. 4 for 6 from three. He had 20 points off the bench. But the thing is, the Knicks, I don't think they played really good because they only scored 86 points. Like usually the Knicks this year they would usually get into like the 100s, but honestly, it's Dallas's defense that's like so good. You have guys like Porzingis that's just like a unicorn on the court, 7'3", at 14 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah, he didn't shoot good from three, but his defense is just insane. Like I feel bad for Knicks fans that they had to lose him for absolutely nothing, but it is what it is. You guys are having a good season, and there's another guy that I forgot to mention. You probably know him by the name of Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
He is like, in my opinion, I think he's the face of the league when LeBron retires. Like he's 21 years old. And he is just like he's already a top 10 player in my eyes in the NBA. 26 points, 3 for 8 from three, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. He also flirted with a triple double. Shot 11 for 3 from the field. Like Luka is just insane. Guys, this will never happen. But if Luka is ever a Laker, like I think I would cry. Like he is just so freaking good. Dallas Mavericks fans, if you're watching this, hold on to this guy for life because he's gonna lead you to the promised land one day.
Oh yeah. There's not much you could really say about Doncic because just what he brings. I mean, look, he got 26 points tonight. Overall 11 for 23. He just, he's in talks also, for the MVP. And I know we're not there yet. I mean, don't get me wrong, but his name is being discussed, and it rightfully should be because I mean he's been playing great ball. Yes, Durant's been playing great ball. If Curry was still healthy, he's been playing good ball. Obviously, LeBron's been playing great up until he got hurt. We'll see where it goes. It could very well be a four guy race for the MVP. So it's pretty crazy. Honestly, man, it's like wild how nuts it is and how close things are this year for the league. And who could win it? I mean, it's pretty up in the air.
It's either like I agree with that 100%. You have Jokic, you have LeBron, you have Harden, you have Curry if he comes back. You have Doncic. It's crazy. This is one of the first years as an NBA fan, as an NBA junkie, that like I can't even tell who's gonna win the award. It's crazy. There's just so many guys this year that are just killing it. Like
Yeah.
I like look my pick has been between LeBron and Jokic, but like it wouldn't be surprising me if like guys like James Harden or Luka Doncic get it. It's such a heated race, like you said. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's honestly really just a race of who's gonna get it. We'll eventually, when it gets closer, we'll get more in the discussion when you could see more things are opening up and we get towards the end of the season. We'll go a little bit more in depth with it. But let's get on to the next few games. Obviously Hornets and Pacers. That was 114-97. Since LaMelo's been out with Hornets and recovering from his injury, they're still irrelevant too. I mean, look, they're 25-23, so technically they have a winning record. Indy Indiana 21-26. The Pacers really haven't been, they haven't really done a lot. They're still a
Yeah.
threat. Don't get me wrong. Any team, when you have Holiday, Miles Turner, and Chris LeVert, those guys, and especially Sabonis. I mean, I know you could touch on Sabonis as well, but when you have that kind of team going against the Hornets, PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, Rozier, and Graham, those all guys that are still going to come out there and give you hard fought playing. This team, they don't give up. The Hornets doesn't give up. They've been underdogs basically for a long time. They really haven't had great seasons in forever. So yeah, I'm glad to see the Hornets coming out there playing hard fought basketball. It's just good for the league. It's good to see the other teams that haven't been so irrelevant or relevant in the league for a while. So it's just good to see new teams coming out there playing hard, and that's all you can really do.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but I love seeing the small market teams play very well because like yes, like the league is good to have like teams like in LA and New York and Chicago and Miami, the big market's doing well because it makes money and generates a lot of money for the league. But to see the small market teams like Charlotte do well, it makes me happy because it's a change of scenery for the league, in my opinion. PJ Washington is very good. He had 13 points, shot 1 for 4 from three. I know he made one, but he plays very good defense. Gordon Hayward has been a very big surprise ever since he got injured from Boston years ago. He's having a very good season. Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier. Their team is just so young, but they play so freaking hard every
Yeah.
night. Like I know LaMelo Ball's not there, but don't be surprised if this team could win a playoff series because their team is so deep. And another guy who's been killing it this year, Miles Bridges, is having a breakout
Oh
season
my God, what a
for
year!
real.
What a year!
What a year for real. Off the
Yeah.
bench, he had 23 points, shot 4 for 7 from three, he had 10 rebounds. He is just doing really well. But I would admit I'm very disappointed in the Indiana Pacers. Like I know they lost Oladipo, but it doesn't excuse Sabonis to not shoot the ball. He shot 7 times. Isn't Sabonis supposed to be their number one guy on the Pacers, and he only
Oh
had
yeah.
7 shots? I feel like he could have played better. Karis LeVert, he's a very good player on Brooklyn, and he's on the Pacers now. 16 points, shot 2 for 6 from three, 5 for 3 from the field. Like I just think Karis LeVert could be a lot better than that. Like
Yeah.
I just think like now with the lack of talent on Charlotte besides Sabonis and Turner, like I just think Karis LeVert can play a lot better than that. And Miles Turner, oof, he's don't think he's off the hook either. He's like Sabonis. He did not shoot the ball that much because Turner and Sabonis were supposed to be like that big front court, like one of the best front courts in the league in my opinion, and they did not show up tonight. Like I don't know if that's because they're trying to go for the lottery or if they gave up because the Oladipo trade, but I just think the Pacers have been disappointing this year. Not as disappointing as Boston has been, but if I have to choose a second team that's very disappointing, it's definitely Indiana. They've really underperformed this. They really like underperformed this year by far.
Yeah. Let's get into the Memphis game. Memphis, Minnesota. Obviously Minnesota's had a really rough year so far. Also because of injuries too. I mean, most people, forget that part. Their Minnesota's 12-37 on the year. Memphis is 23 even, 500 team. Um, Memphis pretty much, Memphis pretty much took care of them. Wasn't so much
Mm-hmm.
of a blowout game. They came out there. Obviously, we know what Cat can do. 30 points for him. Edwards 22 points as well. And McDaniels and McLaughlin and Beasley all, everybody contributes on this team. They're a good team. They fight hard as well. I mean, look, I remember when the Lakers played them And I remember when we were about to lose that game
Hmm.
because they just put their foot on the gas, man. Like that, these kind of teams, no matter who you're playing, I feel like some of these guys are just okay. It's my turn to take over. Like these guys, like Towns, it's just like give me the ball, let me go. I'm healthy. I'm ready to go. I'm in great spirits now. I mean, he's great. I've always enjoyed watching his game.
Same.
I feel like him, like we were talking about some of the other faces of the league. He right there, I mean, is a big guy, is representing
Hmm.
himself in the right way. I mean, he's a little bit more of an old school guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, he likes to shoot threes. In this case, maybe the 3-point shot wasn't feeling it today. He was only 1 for 8, but
Yeah.
he did all of his damage in the paint, and that's what we mean about old school basketball.
Carl Anthony Towns is so freaking good, Aaron. It's
Oh yeah,
incredible. He's a freak of nature. He's, in my opinion, I think the fourth best center in basketball. 30 points, 16 rebounds. Like, yeah, he didn't shoot very well, but he's kind of like that new school center, as you said. Like, he likes to
yeah,
take threes. Sometimes I think he just chucks threes like nothing, and sometimes they don't fall in, and they do fall sometimes. But I just
yeah,
think he could be better at that. But the thing is, like you said, the Timberwolves are very talented. It's just the problem is, I just think that organization is very dysfunctional. Like, how do you
yeah,
have like guys like Cat, D'Lo, and Edwards, but you're like probably the worst team in the West? Like,
yeah,
it has to do with management, has to do with coaching. I don't think Ryan Saunders is the answer as coach. I think they need to get a new coach because how many number one picks are you gonna get, and you're still gonna be like this inconsistent all year? But honestly, like, shout out to the Grizzlies. They're like they've been dealing with some injuries as well this year, but this is how deep they are, Aaron. They didn't even need a big game from John Morant. John Morant only had
yeah.
11 points and 7 assists. It's not like he really went off. Like, that's how good they are. They have guys on the bench like DeAnthony Melton, Tyus Jones, Xavier Tillman, Brandon Clark. But the thing is, Jonas Valanciunas. I said this 2 years ago, and I'm still gonna say it. That was a huge pickup for them to get Jonas Valanciunas because now they have a center presence and they have a guy that can
Oh
space
yeah,
the floor for the whole team. He had 19 points, 11 rebounds. Yes, he had 5 fouls. He almost fouled out, but what big man doesn't get in foul trouble? Like, I feel like almost every big man gets in foul trouble. But Jonas Valanciunas is very good. Being from Canada, like we all remember watching him on the Raptors.
yeah.
That he was a face of that franchise for a long time, and on Memphis, he fits in so well with that team. Like I said, they basically got him to stretch out the floor and space the floor and get buckets in the paint when he needs to and get the boards when he needs to. But the Grizzlies are a good team. I think in the next like 2 3 years they can contend for sure.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I hope they do. I mean, really. I mean, I want us to see. I'd love to see 1 through 7, 1 through 7 guys, or really 1 through 8.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see the whole West just somewhere be competitive, even if it's 500. Even just be, keep it. I want to see the West and the East be is competitive. Obviously, the West has the more advantage, but I'd love to see that. I'd love to see both sides pretty
Same.
equal with each other. Eventually, it's not going to happen right away, but it can in the future. Let's go ahead and get into the other game, the Hawks game, Hawks and the Pelicans. That was a 23-point win for Atlanta. Obviously, we should mention this as well. Even though this is around the NBA, obviously there was some moves in Atlanta with the voting suppressing rights that have been going on. It
Mm-hmm.
also affected the All-Star game for baseball as well. That was moved out as well today. A lot of things going on with Atlanta. Not only with that, but we wish everything is a peaceful transition,
Yeah.
and hopefully things get better in that city. That's all we wish for as everybody comes together. But move on to the game. Pretty much Atlanta took care of business there. Nothing really to worry. Nothing too much. Nothing too surprising really. Clint Capella, I love his game. I love watching him play. Bogdanovich, I feel like any of the brothers that have Bogdanovich's Latin name is just exciting, and
Yes.
these guys just are full of energy, man. Like they know when to play and they know when to bring it. I mean, look, he got 26 points. Um, they had another star. The Kevin Herter got 28 points, I believe, or 24 points. And Brandon Goodwin, and they just compete as well. You love to see. Obviously, we've got to mention Lou Williams as well, newest
Yes.
member of the Hawks. I'm glad. I heard there was a rumor. I don't know if you heard. There was a rumor that said he was thinking about retirement.
I heard
And
about
I
that.
was just like, just because I mean, I get like you got traded, but I mean, you should still want to play. I mean,
Exactly.
your team is semi irrelevant. I mean, see where they end up being as well. I mean, maybe they'll be in the play-in tournament. You never know.
I
Um,
think they will.
yeah. Um, but I mean, I was kind of surprised by it. Obviously, Lou Williams has had a history about how he handles things, so he decided that he wants to give it a go. And that's great. That's great to see. I'm glad he didn't give up and just, not say, what, I played with the Clippers. That's my last team I want to play with. I actually said, let's go back to Atlanta. I'm happy he went back home. I think he could bring some good energy to this team.
Oh, absolutely. And the Hawks are extremely deep. Don't forget that Trae Young didn't play this game, and they still blew out the Pelicans. But the fact that Lou Williams, he just fits so well for their bench. That's the reason why they got him. He had 19 points. Yeah, he only shot 1 3, but it's the fact that he just brings so much excitement on the bench. I know he's like 35 years old and he's at the back end of his career, but it's the fact that like he went, like you said, Aaron, he went back home. He's now in his hometown in Atlanta. I mean, it's kind of inappropriate to say for the show, but he's back in a familiar environment last year in Atlanta, so he's kind of happy about that part. But yeah, but honestly, like the Atlanta Hawks are just so deep. Like you even have Clint Capella. That was a big trade they did last year. 14 points, 10 boards, 5 for 8 shooting. He spaces the floor very well. He's basically like another Valanciunas for them. Um, and like you said about the Bogdanovich brothers,
Yeah.
Bogdan is was a huge underrated signing for them in the offseason. 26 points, shot 6 for 11 from the three, 9 for 7 from the field. And another guy, another like spot up shooter for them. Like Lou Williams is like 35, but like I find he's a young version of Lou Williams, Kevin Herter. Like 24 points, 2 for 5 from 3. I feel like Kevin Herter has the potential of being like a possible 6 man of the year award
Oh,
player
yeah.
because if you put him, I know he starts some games for them, but like on the bench, from what I've seen, sometimes when I watch Hawks games, like on the bench, he just brings so much presence. He's so much energy. He's young. He can shoot. He can drive to the lane. He's just so exciting. But I mean, it was kind of like known fact that the Hawks were going to win this game because from what I'm seeing on the stats, no one really major played for them besides like Eric Bledsoe. Lonzo Ball didn't play. Zion Williamson didn't play. Brandon Ingram didn't play. Josh Hart didn't even play. I don't know if they were resting all those guys. I don't know if there was injuries going on. I mean, Lonzo Ball, I know I know he's injured, but like the rest of the team, I guess like Stan Van Gundy like rested all of them. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I people have always mentioned the word, and we've heard it all before, load management.
hmm
Maybe that was something to do with it a little bit. I get it. I get it into a specific standpoint. When you have, if your players need some rest, okay. But I mean, when it comes to load management, we could talk about this for a second. Um, I think it's the right way. I think it's when the right times to handle it. And I think load management necessarily doesn't mean you just give them the whole game off. I think if you're gonna give them load management,
Yeah.
maybe 15 minutes total in the whole game, and 15, 20 minutes most, and that's it. And I think that'd be huge for them. But not necessarily just have them not play the game. Because
Exactly.
in the end of the day, I mean, LeBron talked about this as well, and other NBA players have talked about it as well. It says, look, now with fans coming back, also, we touched on that. And for those of you that didn't hear the news as well, Los Angeles can actually start hosting fans at Staples Center. So that means the Lakers, the Kings, the Clippers, and the Sparks can all start hosting events there, and that's great news around the league because you can't have LA you can't be in LA without seeing LA indoor sports playing in their arena. So it's great to see.
Exactly.
Um, but also, with the load management thing, when it comes to fans, especially now too, that's where it really hurts the fans because the fans want to come out there. LeBron spoke on it a lot. I know Steph Curry spoke on it a lot too. It says, look, even if we're tired, go out there and put on a show for the fans because ultimately that's what they're paying their money for. They don't want to
Absolutely.
they don't want to necessarily come out and see a secondary team playing the whole game. They want to see their stars. You want to see everybody come out. Now, if it's the last game of the year, if it's fan appreciation day, maybe play the first half. They're going to understand because they know either we're looking forward to the playoffs and we're not worried about it, or it's no, we're not making the playoffs, so let them play the game, let them go out, let them score as much as they want, get the fans happy, let them all soak it in. So I feel like that kind of thing needs to be addressed eventually more. I'm sure the league will look into it, but
It
it gets
should
kind of
be.
old after a while.
Yeah, it definitely should be addressed. Like I know I know like a lot of bad stuff is going on in the world now with this whole coronavirus, but the thing is, if there's a way to like bring fans back, not only in the NBA, but like I think in all the four major sports, like just keep like the fans like this, and I would say like have one fan sit there, have another fan sit there, and just make masks like mandatory the entire game. Like I know a lot of people don't like wearing masks because like they have a hard time breathing and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's one thing that's gonna keep people safe. Like there's this one pet peeve of mine, even when I work, and even when I'm at work, and say people like wear masks like under here, I'm just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Um Obviously most important, everybody make sure you're staying safe.
Exactly.
Um let's get into the Bulls and the Jazz. We're almost done here with
Hmm.
our coverage here with around the NBA and Bulls and the Jazz. Obviously, I think it was the closest game of the entire night.
Yep.
So, not too much to not tight game as well. We talked about Chicago. We could briefly talk on this game. Utah has been Utah. I mean, obviously we know how good they've been. They I give the Bulls a lot of credit because they fought. They fought all the way
Hmm.
through this game. They're a good team still. And I was actually seeing some stuff on the Bulls as well on the jump earlier today, and everybody even says the Bulls are going to be good. They're going to be a great team next year. They have a very good opportunity to really have a reversed record than they do. I mean, there's people that really think the Bulls next year can be actually 28-19 on the year because they're good. They're good. I mean, they are no joke. They can play hard. We know they have one big piece to their team, which is Zach LaVine.
Yes.
We've already seen him a little bit already, and obviously Thaddeus Young. I mean, those guys right there. I feel like they just add so much life to that team, and obviously you got Vucevic as well. Um, they pretty much took care of the game tonight.
One thing I like about the Bulls is the fact that they have like a mixture of like veterans and young guys. Like yeah, Zach Levine is like what 25, 26. He's a young talent. But yeah, like I like how you brought like Thaddeus Young in this because he's like what
Yeah,
32, 33, and he's just such a spark plug for them. 25 points, 7 rebounds, and he shot 60% from the field tonight. Like I know like power forwards usually have good percentages, but he shot 60%, and he's not exactly that old to tell you the truth. And but Zach Levine, what's there to say about him? Like not only is like dunking like his forte, but even defense and shooting as well. I know he didn't shoot well tonight, but he's usually a very good 3-point shooter. And people, I guess people are living in California, they all know how he plays because wasn't he a star in UCLA? I'm positive he was.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, so
By the way, go Bruins.
they're in the Final Four apparently. Good
Yeah.
for you. Sadly, my guys are eliminated, Nova. But yeah, Zach LaVine is an absolute generational talent.
Oh yeah.
He's and I find like the fact that Vucevic just complements him so well as a player because now he can actually space the floor for them because that's the one thing that Chicago lacked. They lacked a guy that was able to space the floor, and now you have possibly one of if the in my opinion he's the most underrated big man in basketball. Nikola Vucevic. Like nobody talked about him because he was on a very small market team in Orlando, but now he's gonna get the media attention because he's in a big market in Chicago. And don't be surprised next year if Chicago doesn't make the playoffs this year. Do not be surprised if they make it next year because now they have a 1-2 punch combo with Vucevic and LaVine because those two guys. Yes, I know Vucevic isn't young anymore. He's getting up there in age, but he is still a very good player. He made the All-Star game this year, and they also have guys like Kobe White and Larry Markkinen. But shout out to the Utah Jazz that they like.
Yeah.
This team
Donovan Mitchell, man.
Donovan Mitchell, Spida Mitchell. This team is really overachieving. They're not. It's not like they're just standing pat. They are just overachieving this year. I didn't think they would be the number one seed in the NBA. Like, who would have thought they were going to be this good, Aaron? Like, literally. Donovan Mitchell is turning into a superstar. Like, he's already been an all-star. This year, he's turning into a superstar. He had 26 points, 5 assists. I know he didn't shoot well from 3, but Donovan Mitchell is just his presence on the court, his speediness on the court, the fact that he's able to drive to the lane, he's able to dunk. Dunking as well. He's very good at, and also, they have the French monster as well in Rudy Gobert.
Oh yeah.
19 points, 13 rebounds, 6 for 7 shooting. 6 for 7 shooting, Aaron. That's crazy.
He missed one shot the whole night.
Missed one shot. He's so efficient. It's crazy. And remember, we talked about the other Bogdanovich brother, Bogdan, but Bojan plays for Utah, and he had 18 points. Jeez, how many guys scored in double figures this game? That's crazy. Mike Conley too at 13.
5 guys.
And then
Jordan Clarkson too. You can't forget him as well.
I was gonna mention him exactly.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson, former Laker young core. I feel like it's between him and Montrezl Harrell the 6th Man of the Year award. Like if I have Montrezl Harrell winning it, but if Montrezl Harrell doesn't win it, I think Jordan Clarkson's gonna win it. Not because even him, every game on the bench, he brings it every night. 19 points. But I feel like this year he averaged he got at least 30 points a few times off the bench. I feel like there's a few games he had like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Jordan Clarkson is really turning into a 6th Man of the Year candidate. He's very good.
Oh yeah, they're a good team. I can't even really speak too much more on them because they're just doing something great this year. Obviously, I expect them to get in the playoffs, and we'll see where they go. I mean, we'll see where they can end up. It's the playoffs are everybody starts 0-0, so we'll see what happens. You got to earn it. You got to earn it. You can't be, you got to be a great team in the regular season. You got to be a great team in the playoffs, and you got to have your mind there focused for it. Let's get into the Thunder and Suns and the Thunder. Like we were talking about earlier in the game, there's some games that just don't go your way. The Suns pretty much wholeheartedly took care of the Thunder, 140-103. That was pretty obviously pretty one-sided. Not too much not too much there. Just a great Suns team, man. Overall, they're playing well. I think Oklahoma City's. I'd say that they look pretty checked out. I mean, they're 20-28 right now. They're not, they haven't been playing that hard. Obviously, they're dealing with what they have, and honestly, the thing I think they're worried about is how many draft picks they're going to have by the end of the year. I think we're at 17 right now. I think we were talking about that. I think they're at like 17.
17.
Yeah, 17 first round picks. I think they're trying to shoot for 20 maybe. We'll see where that goes. I mean, I've never heard of a team actually get that many draft picks. So that's actually pretty crazy to see. The Suns, man, they just, looking at their numbers, obviously Booker, man. I got so much high respect for him. Obviously, dropping 32 tonight in 30 minutes. 30 minutes and score 32 points. Now that's impressive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Devin Booker is insane. He's up there as well as one of the most underrated players in basketball. He has 32 points, 3 for 5 from 3, 11 for 20 from the field. This guy is 24 years old. He's my age, and he's just so freaking good. I still remember like 3 years ago, he got the highest amount of points since Kobe. Didn't this guy drop like 70 points in a game?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. But I've always been a believer in the Suns. I've always said that like this team would get it together, even though they have a long playoff drought. Because I've been saying it for many years, and this year they finally have it. They have a actual point guard. Because I'm saying like the Suns need a point guard to play next to Devin Booker, and the fact that they made that blockbuster trade in the offseason to get Chris Paul, that is huge. Because Chris Paul, he's one of the best point guards I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, it's the fact that he knows how to facilitate and orchestrate the offense and defense. He knows how to just make the right plays at the right time. He had 12 assists and 17 points. And he shot he had a 100% game. He didn't miss a single shot tonight. He shot 8 for 8, which is crazy. Like that CP3 is able to play like this at 35, 36 years old, whatever the age he is. But nah, shout out to Phoenix. Like, that's another team that's overachieving. But the Thunder, there's not much to say about them. Like, they're basically in the same boat as the Rockets are in. They're going for the rebuild. They're still in the same boat as the Rockets. Like, they're rebuilding. They have a lot of young guys on their team, but one guy who I think is really good, but no one really talks about him because he went late in the draft. Yeah. Aleksej Pokusevski. He had 20 points tonight. Shot 4 for 6 from 3. But I've seen some like videos of him last year in the draft. Because he obviously was in the EuroLeague, so he didn't really play in the NCAA base. So people here in North America didn't really see him play. But I saw little video clips of him on YouTube. He is so good, and he's like 7'3", 7'4". He's basically like the Serbian version of Porzingis. Like he's literally a unicorn.
True, honestly though.
But they're yeah, exactly, and I find they're making a team of full of international players like outside the U.S. Like there's also I know Shea didn't play and Lou Dort didn't play. Shout out to Montreal, but those guys are from Canada. You have Pokusevski, that's from Serbia. Theo Maledon, who's from France. But Theo Maledon, oh my God, he had 33 points, 5 for 7 from 3. Yeah. I didn't see this game coming from Maledon. He looked really, really good. He had 10 for 18 from the field. And another former Laker that they have, Svi Mykhailiuk. I know he didn't shoot from 3. Svi for 3. Us Laker Nation, we all remember that.
Oh, and, yeah.
I know he didn't shoot well, but his presence was felt. Justin Jackson, he's having a underrated season, in my opinion, off the bench for them. From what I sometimes when I watch OKC games, he has 15 points, shot 3 for 5 from 3, 5 for 8 from the field. Like a lot of people were calling him bust potential when he got drafted. But on the off the bench on Sacramento and now on OKC, he's been very good. He's actually been someone who's been very useful on the bench. So people calling him a bust, like I don't think you should call him a bust. He's just because you're not living to your expectation doesn't mean you're a bust. You're just not living to your draft expectation. I know he went in the lottery, but it doesn't mean that you can't play. That you're not living to your expectation. Like look at for example Lonzo Ball.
True.
Like I know he's not living to the station at all being a number 2 pick, but you can't call him a bust because he's actually a above average basketball player. He's able to make his threes. Yes, I know
Yeah.
from the free throw line he's not great, but he's able to get you buckets when he can. He's able to facilitate and orchestrate the offense and defense because defensively he's an absolute anchor on defense. Rebounding, he's amazing. Like I just want to put that out there because sometimes people call players busts, but you can't call somebody a bust if they're playing very well. They're just not living to their expectation as they were drafted.
Yeah. Yeah. The only other thing I was gonna touch on as well from the Suns game, obviously Chris Paul was great, but forgetting one more guy, obviously one of the best centers, not or one of the best point guards. Maybe we'll have one of those debates one day. We'll get the fans involved here, and we'll say. But I'm still gonna go with Steve Nash over Chris Paul because when Steve Nash was in his prime, man, he gave
Mm,
you points. He made some ridiculous passes. I mean, I think I saw him once throw it through somebody's legs as well. Obviously, I've seen Chris Paul do that. So that's always going to be a conversation for a good debate as well because they're both terrific point guards and they'll definitely Hall of Famers.
absolutely,
Last
without a doubt.
yeah, last game that's going on tonight. Bucks and the Blazers. Giannis had probably one of the best games he's had all year. 47
Oh, absolutely.
tonight. He played terrific. They obviously there's he shot 18 for 21 for field goals for the night. So
Absurd.
I mean when you have that kind of a game, I mean you're definitely going to win this game. There was no stopping you. 33 minutes, 47 points on 33 minutes. Didn't shoot the 3, but I mean he's just a machine, man. I feel when it comes to him and Middleton, obviously Drew Holiday, you know, you just can't stop these guys. I mean, I feel like obviously when they played the Lakers the last game, Lakers just had no answer. You just could not be stopped.
Oh, without a doubt. But what's there to say about Giannis, Aaron? Like he is. I think honestly, I've been saying this before, and I'm gonna say it again. Besides LeBron, I think Giannis is the best player in basketball. Like on offense and on defense, he's basically like a poor man's Shaq the way he
Yeah,
plays. He had 47 points, 12 rebounds. He shot 18 for 21 as you mentioned. That's absurd. Absurd. It's
honestly
crazy.
though.
Chris
Um,
Middleton as well. 20 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 for 4 from 3. He complements Giannis very well. They're basically that 1-2 punch, but honestly, shout out to the Bucks for the because they didn't. I know they didn't do much in the trade deadline. They didn't do anything at all in the trade deadline, but the trade that they made in January or February, I forgot when it was, to get Drew Holiday because the one thing they were missing was a defensive-minded guard
yeah,
that can score, and they got him. Drew Holiday. I love
terrific.
that pickup. Terrific, absolutely. I agree with you there. 22 points, 10 assists, shot 9 for 14 from the field. Didn't shoot that great from the 3-point line, but it's just Drew Holiday is just so good on defense. We've seen him for many years playing with AD back in New
Yeah,
Orleans. He is just amazing. And yeah, I know the Blazers got wrecked tonight, but you're always gonna get buckets from Dame because it's always
Dame
Dame
time.
time. Dame time. That's it. 32 points. I know he didn't shoot very well from the three, but he shot 10 for 19 from the field. Not the worst, but not great.
Yeah.
CJ McCollum didn't shoot great from the three, but he did give you 18 points. Melo didn't have his best game, but his presence is always felt. But honestly, I think the East is so wide open this year. It's crazy. People are
It
saying
really is.
whoever's saying Brooklyn's a lock, like, do me a favor and stop watching basketball because don't say that they're a lock. They're like basically like I would say that they're front runners to make it out of the East, but there's other teams out there that are just so freaking good.
Oh
You have
yeah.
the Sixers that could make it. You have the Bucks that can make it, and don't be surprised if there's an upset in the East as well. Like if I know Lamelo's out for the season, but if Lamelo Ball makes it in the playoffs, if he's able to make it in the playoffs, don't be surprised if the Hornets could possibly go all the way to the finals because they have a very deep team. The Hawks as well have a deep team. The I know the Celtics are underperforming big time this year, but they have a deep team as well. The Boston Celtics can make it by far as well, but there's also another team I want to put out there that made big moves in the trade deadline. Shout out to the Miami Heat. That's another team that could possibly make it. So the East is just so wide open. I think the West is just superior, but like the East, there's just so many teams that can make it. Like it's hard to call who's going to make it in the East. Personally, I have the Miami Heat making it out of the East, but there's just so many teams out there that can make it, and I just want to put it out there. This year is just so competitive, and this is what us NBA fans want to see. Like as much as I love basketball, I've been watching the NBA for 15 years now. Like we were fed up of seeing the Warriors and Cavs every single year in the finals. Now that we have parity in the league, this is what we love. Like the NHL has parity and the MLB has parity. It's about time we get that in the NBA. Finally, this year we have it in the NBA, and this is what I've been waiting for as an NBA fan.
I couldn't agree with you more. Sorry about that. I couldn't
It's all
agree with
good.
you more. Obviously, when it comes to the East, let's not forget here that people were already saying, "Oh, Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Brooklyn." Well, that's what people said about Miami when the super team was created back then,
Exactly.
when Bosh, James, and Wade all came together. And you know what? They struggled as well because super teams necessarily are not going to get you a win. Obviously,
Hmm.
after Miami came around, Lakers tried that as well with their attempt for a super team. That didn't go well either. But it's part of basketball, They ended up getting through it as well. They ended up getting through the struggles. But you know, it's pretty wide open. I'll be looking forward to it when when things get back and when things get closer to the playoffs. So obviously, shout out to Matthew as well, our AV guy. Clippers Lakers on Sunday. We're gonna wrap this up here. Our next show will be it'll be Lakers live pregame show as well, starting at 12 o'clock. We're gonna have a mixture of a crew, so it's not just gonna be a Laker-based crew. We will have Lakers fans and we will have Clippers fans as well to keep it fair. Big game as well on ABC. A possible preview of a Western Conference final matchup. Obviously, we don't know yet.
We
Everything's
don't.
like we said. Everything's up in the air. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how things go. But that's gonna do it for Around the NBA. For Manny, Medina, and myself, I'm Aaron. We will catch you guys on Sunday at 12 o'clock. Lakers, Clippers. You don't want to miss it. Take care, guys.
Peace.